Hello, my name is Frances Rowley Beaumont. I'm a retired occupational therapist, an artist and an author. I'm writing a book about a man called John Oliver who had a quite extraordinary life. He was born without hands and forearms and he had one club foot, but despite this he was able to live a very full life. Here he is as a boy, and later on he went to art school at Northampton, where he gained an NDD, and he could have been an art teacher. He decided he wanted to be a painter himself, and he went on to have a tug on the River Medway. Here you can see him sculling towards his tug, which is called Hobbit, and his houseboat are next to it. Body did not stop him doing anything. He rolled cigarettes with his toes, he painted and cooked French cuisine, and he wrote in a very lovely italic script using his toes. He could sail and handle a tug better than most, and his positive personality inspired all those who knew him. Now let me take you around this exhibition I curated in 2018 in Sun Pier House, Medway. This is a picture of Fishermen at Saint-Henri by Mags Loxton. When John first met Mags, she was working as a nurse, even though she'd been to art school. She was living with a young son and husband on a barge, and John encouraged her to become an artist again, and she became very well known as an illustrator. Here you can see some of her pictures of France, French life, and here some quite amusing one of nuns, which she was quite famous for as well. This is a very different work in this exhibition, inspired by Jean Huel Chambers as a worldwide collaborative art project, commemorating the 70,273 lives of physically and mentally disabled people murdered by the Nazis in 1940 to 1941. 3 Nazi doctors read the medical files, and if 2 of them marked it with a red cross, signifying in their judgment, without seeing the person, that they were unfit or an economic burden to society, this is men, women, children and babies, they were immediately disposed of. If John Oliver had been born into that society and at that time, he would not have survived. This quilt was made by different community groups in Medway, run by Wendy Dawes, including those with visual handicap and mental difficulties. Here is a photo of John Oliver taken in old age by Peter Smith, the award-winning photographer. At this, he was 86 years old, and it was 2 years before he died in 2014. Wendy Dawes gave homage to John Oliver in her work. This was made with empty block prints pressed into paper, then cut and joined with bookbinding threads, and 24 karat gold was pressed into the empty embossed details. This is the work by Amanda Russell. These pendants were found objects in the River Medway. This shows tide marks of things again found in the Medway, and treasures become treasures in her under her influence. This is Andrew Kennedy standing in front of his paintings, the marine artist who was a close friend and neighbour of John Oliver's, and for many years in Letley's boatyard in Rochester. Here's an image of Rochester Bridge. On the left you can see Andrew Kennedy's own boat called Wagtail, and on the right is Hobbit, John's little brown tug. A sailing barge match rounding the Mouse lightship. John was a good-looking fellow, as you can see by these portraits by Tony Oldacre. Here he is again at the wheel of Servia, the steam tug. John had a great interest in saving steam tugs and also the Medway Queen, which was a paddle steamer. All of those are still around Chatham area and have their own preservation societies. When John became very old, A neighbour called Mick Hampshire, a painter as well, and his partner, Sarah, used to look after John by visiting him every day. And he lived alone on his houseboat until he was 87, when he went into care. These rather harrowing pictures, sketches, show John's last few months as he became increasingly frail and thin. I knew John since 1967, when I was 24, until the end of his life in 2014. It was a long and very deep friendship. This mobile is my homage to John Oliver. As you can see, there are semi-precious stones hanging in the spaces of the wood, and you can see how the sculpture has broken free from its chains. To me, this means he was broke free from the expectations that he was going to be a disabled person, and he lived his own life. This is a collage of trees, like the tree of life, and some work in glass, which I made, showing my fascination with sailing and water. To complete the exhibition, I made this hanging in silk, a map of the river Medway around Rochester, on which I had some of the best times of my life. Thanks to all the artists who took part in this exhibition: Frances Beaumont, Amanda Randall, Tony Oldacre, Andrew Kennedy, Mags Loxton, Wendy Dawes and Mike Hampshire. If you'd like to know more about John Oliver, his extraordinary life, and the book that I'm writing, a memoir called Johnny, No Hands and Me, please contact me on Facebook, John Oliver, An Extraordinary Life, or Frances Rowley Beaumont, author, or through my website www.francesbeaumont.co.uk.